honestly, I think Rosalía is like top. Yeah, when was I think Fucking Money Man was the first thing I heard.
Really?
I think that was the first thing I heard. Yeah, I loved it.
Hi Ed, how are you up to these days?
Yeah, I'm good. Really excited to be back in Madrid, and yeah, it's been a while. I haven't been here in ages.
You say you've been working on this album's abstract for a decade. But everything changed quite drastically during these past few years.
Yeah.
So how's your family, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, everyone's good. Everyone's good. I feel like life always has like little challenges, and last year was some quite big challenges, but we got through them as a family. And yeah, you know, I had a nice day today. We went to the park and I flew here. Yeah.
Because this new album has a lot to do with this, right?
Yeah, totally. I think the album is it's kind of really about grief and fear and depression, and yeah, it's something, you know, I've touched on all of those subjects throughout my albums over the years, but like one song here or one song there, whereas this is like a full album. So yeah, it just feels a bit more full on, I guess.
Do you find yourself experiencing some level of imposter syndrome with this album? Like, I'm a fraud, I cannot do anything.
No, I can't, like, it's weird. I feel because I know where I came from. Like I remember being really bad and not being able to sing and not being able to write songs, and I really have worked hard over the years. So I can't, there's not a part of me that goes, I don't know why this happened, because I know all the steps it took to be, like I didn't go from successful pop star to here. I went from like playing in rooms to like nobody and no record labels being interested in it, kind of building up. So I wouldn't say imposter syndrome, but I do get a lot of like anxiety about having to keep it going, because you know, the reason I started making music in the first place wasn't to have hit singles, and then I ended up having hit singles, and then you start chasing hit singles rather than just chasing the music. So it's always a balance of that, basically.
And how do you cope with this anxiety?
I don't know. I guess you just every day is different. Some days it's a lot, some days it's nothing. So it's yeah, it's just about getting through the days, I guess.
And why is it important to shine some light about traumatic or dark experiences?
Do you know? I feel especially as a British man, like none of my friends ever, like I see my wife goes to dinner with her girlfriends, right? Okay. And every time, like, it's at our house, like, I come down, one of them's always crying. It's always like everyone's crying and emotional and blah, blah, blah. And when I hang out with my friends, we just talk about football and shit. Like, it's like, but we all have emotions in us. And since talking about mine on this record and doing the Rolling Stone interview, and I've got this documentary coming out, my friends are starting to open up to me about stuff and like bringing me to one side and being like, oh, you went through that. Actually, I went through a similar thing. And I just think it's important for that. Being open about things makes people feel better. Like, I've definitely been someone who's just bottled it up inside, and I just think that's, I don't know what it's like in Spain, but in England that's very common for men to do, basically.
You once said you have family here in Murcia.
Yeah.
Now you're here in Spain. Do you plan to visit Murcia?
Yeah. I mean, I would love to do a show. That she lives in England now with my cousin. But yeah, I think they're over here quite a lot. But yeah, that was my first time in Spain actually. At their wedding, I was like 8. But yeah,
so it's good.
I love it here.
Wedding.
Yeah, well, I come here quite a bit. It's a beautiful, beautiful country. It's like, I don't know, I'm sure Spain feels weird about British people coming over here, but Spain is like the place that all British people want to come, you know?
Does songwriting act as a therapy to you?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's one way of, like, there are some lines on the album that written down, if I said them out loud, you'd be like, oh, that's a bit heavy. But if you sing it, it's different. You can kind of get away with saying pretty dark stuff if you sing it.
So you create this distance from your reality with the songs? Yeah,
and it makes, if you make something beautiful out of something dark, then it's kind of worth it, I think. Yeah.
Okay. This year you're being very active on social media.
Yeah.
Why did you leave the internet in the first place? And what have changed from
I don't know, I have up days and down days just like everyone else. And like in my industry, you're expected to always be on, you have to always be on social
Always
media
on.
and always be connected, always be happy, always this. And I just like last year didn't feel like that at all. So I just sort of like tuned out from it and didn't want to post silly videos because I didn't feel that way. So yeah, it's like social media is kind of like an entertainer's best friend and worst nightmare because you have to do it and it works, but it's not necessarily something that you want to do all the time.
I wish I could do that because I think if I do that, it's like I disappear.
Yeah.
Is everything
Totally.
vanished?
Nothing exists if it doesn't happen on social media. I'll go and do things and, talk about them weeks later and people will be like, when did you do that? And I'm like, well, in the time that I wasn't posting it on social media. But I feel like people are so glued to it that that is everyone's reality at the moment. And I don't know, I find myself getting sucked into that reality sometimes. I'm sure you do too.
But don't you think if you're successful, it's like, you can do that?
You can and you can't, you can, like I've had time off social media and when you come back, you have to like get it back basically. If you do it regularly, it's just always there.
Mm-hmm. And what about your docuseries on Disney Plus?
Yeah, it's weird. I kind of feel like most music documentaries end up being like, because the artists make them themselves, it ends up being like a propaganda piece of you put in the documentary exactly what you want the audience to see. So it's never like tough or challenging or uncomfortable for the person. And walking into this, I kind of was like, I want to make a documentary on my new album. And the people who are making the documentary are like, we're not interested in that. We want to actually see you and the uncomfortable bits. And yeah, it was super full on. And they filmed everything last year. And I think the documentary is really good. It's just, I find it difficult to watch because it's like
I haven't seen it, but I'm going to.
I think you'll like it. It's very human, I guess. There's nothing glitz or glam about it.
And I know you're into Spanish music.
Yes.
Is there any Spanish songwriter you
I think
collaborate with?
Like honestly, I think Rosalía is like
Rosalía.
top. Yeah, yeah. When was I think "Fucking Money Man" was the first thing I heard.
Really?
I think that was the first thing I heard. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you
for having me.
Nice one.
And good luck with Subtract.
Thank you so much.
Suscríbete y entérate de todo.